All right. First, we want to thank you all for being here and for taking the time to attend our presentation. So allow me first to introduce ourselves. Shireen, would you like to join us on the stand? So, starting with Shireen, she's our Vice President at Francorp Middle East. And our colleague Imad is the Chairman of Francorp Middle East. And myself, Ziad Feddine, President of Francorp Middle East. So, we're very happy to be here with you. And I would like to start by telling you a little bit of history of franchising. So for those of you who do not know, franchising is something that was invented in the 1800s. It was in 1891 when there was a lady, and her name is Martha Matilda Harper. That lady, she was working for a doctor, and she learned the tricks from the doctor about the hair tonic that he was developing. So after saving some money, she went and she did her hair salon. All the savings of her life, $350 at the time. She started the hair salon and she was selling those hair tonics in that place. And then people from all over the world were coming to Rochester, New York, and telling her, you should open your hair salon in our cities. From there, franchising was invented, and since then it has been developed. And in the 1950s and 1960s, it was the golden era of franchising that took place in the North America and specifically in USA. So, but just a little bit of brief. I think it's always nice to look back, especially that we're talking about the most creative, most innovative, and most effective business model that has been created in the world of business until today. Franchising is that. So, let's talk a little bit about Francorp. Francorp is an international company. It was set up in 1976 in Chicago in the US. Since then it has rolled out globally. We are in 45 countries and we have 12 regional offices. So we are the team that operates the Middle East office. Out of Dubai is the headquarters, and we have offices in few cities around the Middle East as well. We are on a mission, and that mission is that we want to spread the franchising culture in the Middle East. We believe in this business model. We believe in what it adds to businesses, to societies, to economies. And we have a role and we have that mission that we are fully committed to engage and fulfill. Some of our clients, we are very proud to have worked with so many clients. And of course, we've worked with 14,000 clients globally. And in the Middle East, we've worked with hundreds of clients, so it's impossible, of course, to capture all of them. But it's nice, you know, to show you that we work with companies across different sectors, across different industries. We've worked with the big names, we've worked with small names and make them big and help them to become big. So I will leave you, I won't go through that list. I'll leave you just, you know, to skim through it. But of course, if you go on our website, you'll see a much bigger list. So, what is a franchise? Some people, actually a lot of people don't know about franchising. Maybe most of you probably would because you are in this exhibition and you are interested in this topic. I've mentioned that it is the most creative and innovative business model created, but what it is about, very simple, it's giving the license to use a business model, a trademark and a brand name supported with the know-how and underpinned with all the policies and procedures and all the support. That's what franchising is simply about. Franchising system will help you grow fast. Why? Is because it's because of the OPM factor, which is OPM factor. What it stands for is other people money. And the advantage of franchising is that it helps you overcome some challenges that we all have in businesses. We are all short on time. We are all short on resources, whether they're human resources or financial resources. And that's the beauty of franchising, is that it basically helps us tackle those objectives. And many more, of course. It helps us lower the risk. It helps us in buying power and control. It sets us onto a fast growth path, and for those who like, you know, have an exit strategy in mind, or those who just want to basically create a legacy to pass on to their kids and grandkids, it allows all of that. We won't go into that list because it's really a big list. But what franchising comprises, a franchising program comprises, is of 4 key parts. The strategic part, which is the most important and first step. The legal part, of course, you want to engage in with your potential franchisees in a very, legally proof and bulletproof from a legal standpoint. There is the operational part, of course, and finally there is the marketing part, marketing the franchising business. So I will pass on and hand it over to Imad, my colleague, who's going to talk about the strategic part of the franchising program.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to thank Ziad. By the way, he's my brother, and he's the president of the company. Going into the strategic, I'm not sure whether we are speaking fast, or you can, is it okay? Everybody's understanding it's fine? Okay, good. Now, going into the strategic, like Ziad mentioned, in order for us to build a program, we have to look at 4 major segments. One of them is the strategic. The other one is the legal. The third is the franchise operations manual, where we call it the know-how transfer. Today I own a business. I want to transfer this know-how to someone else. Therefore, I need to have the operational manuals in place. So whenever I take my business and deliver it to someone, they have to operate it the same way I operate it. So the whole idea is to have the strategic, the legal, the operations, and the marketing on how you can expand the business and how you can sell your business across the world. Now, moving on, as he had mentioned, the first most essential, let's put it this way, the most fundamental part is the strategic planning and structure reporting. And the reason, because anything you will do today in your business and anything you might do for the years to come, you have to all plan it. Plan it in terms of financials, plan it in terms of expansion, plan it in terms of development, plan it in terms of your legal structure as a company, plan it in terms of your fee structure, your franchisee profile, your franchisee, the know-how of your franchisees, and what you're going to be delivering to that franchisee. So everything you do is part of your strategic planning and structure report. Let me take you through the strategic planning and structure report. The first thing we do normally is we look at the goals and objectives of our clients. What do we mean by goals and objective? Goals and objective, it talks about your expansion. Where do you want to be? What's your goals? Am I going to sell the company after 5 years? I'm doing the franchise program to sell it, only to sell franchise, or to sell the brand? What's my plan? What's my goals? Am I doing the franchise simply to make money and sell it to others and simply to start, making profit out of it? Am I doing it because I want to become international? Am I doing it because I want to have an exit strategy, like I want to go stock market, for example, go public? So what's your plan? So the first thing we do normally with Francorp is we sit down with the client and we go through their goals and objectives, their strategies, and their expansion plan. So once we will be able to build the goals and objectives of our clients, then we move in doing something what we call the competition, let's say, comparable analysis. Comparable analysis, we study every single angle within your business. Let's say you are in F&B business. First of all, I would like to ask so I can, present it better. Can anybody tell me who's into the hospitality, for example? Who has restaurants? Anyone? Anyone own a business here? You own restaurants, right? Sorry? I can't hear you. Educational. And are you planning to franchise your business? Not yet. Okay. Anybody owns an F&B business? Not really. Okay. Thank you, Ola. Anybody owns a retail business? Not really? You do? Okay, good. Now, let's take you into consideration, if you don't mind, ma'am. Let's say you own a retail business, in which you do, and you want to franchise your business, like we said. The first thing we do is we look at what? Your goals and objectives, right? The second thing is the competition. What do you mean by competition? We look at your retail business and we study who is your competitor in the world, because you're going into franchise, right? you're doing your business, to expand it in terms of franchise. So what we do here is we study your business model and we look at any other competitors similar to your business locally and internationally, and we look at what do they have, how much they are selling their franchise, how much they are giving support to the franchisees, the services they provide, the fee structure. So basically we study your business and we study the other competitors. But it's funny that none of you owns businesses here. Are you all coming to buy a franchise? No? I guess I'm speaking fast. Am I? Okay. Thank you. So I better speak slowly. Thank you. All right. Anybody own a business? You do? Are you sure? Okay. Because nobody said yes. Nobody owns a business? 1, 2. I want to see more people. I want to see who owns. Because we're talking about your franchise program. We want to help you. All right. Fine. Moving on. We study your strategic plan. Like we said, we look at the goals and objectives. We look at the competition. Then we come to a part where we study what type of a format you need in terms of franchising your business. Because I guess a lot of people, they don't understand franchise in the sense of formats of franchise. There is so many formats. There is master franchise. There is area development franchise. There is regional franchise. There is individual franchise. There is a conversion franchise. There is a retro franchise. There is more than 20 type of franchise format. It doesn't mean all these formats fits to your business needs. The only thing we decide on your format is the goals and objective and your expansion plan. This is what will tell us what type of a format will suit your business. Let's say someone has a fast food business, for example, burger joint. And this guy would like to franchise his business 200 stores in 5 years. Then the formats of that particular business will be more aggressive than any other business. So therefore, we look at their master franchise, for example, where he can go and sell a master franchise for an area, where that person who owns that master franchise has the right to sub-franchise it to others. Or he might look at the multi-unit franchise, where he goes to areas and he sells certain number of units because he want to build, he want to sell 100 franchises in 5 years. Different than someone who has a retail business and his plan is only to sell 10 franchise or 20 franchise. So apparently the format of master franchise doesn't or will not fit his business. So what we do, we tell him that you need to sell it individually to individual people rather than you going and sell it as a master franchise. So again, formats will depends on your expansion plan. It depends on your development schedule and how many units you're planning to sell over a period of 5 years. So once we define the goals and objective, we define your development schedule, we will be able to define your format, what type of a format you're going to be using. Moving on, once we define the format, then apparently we have to define something called the franchise profile. Who's going to be our franchisee? So today, if I want to sell a master franchisee to someone, I need him to have certain requirement, certain resources, whether it is financial, whether it is manpower, whether it is he will be able to find certain locations, someone who's really powerful in the area where he operates, right? So we go into the formats, we go into the profile, and we help you to define what type of a profile will suit your format, whether it is individual or whether it is a corporate group who's coming to buy several units. Then we move into something called the revenue sources protection strategy. What we mean by this, it's basically every time you sell your franchise, you want to make sure you have, thank you. You want to make sure you have a proper strategy in protecting your business. So for example, I come to buy your business today and I'll put my signboard, let's say, on the main shop. Now, how can I protect that signboard? How can I make sure that this signboard, the franchisee will not remove it after a certain period of time and put his own signboard there? So we want to make sure that whatever we do in terms of a protection, we will take into consideration looking at your signboard, looking at every single revenue sources protection to your business, from the signboard to the POS system to the telephone inside the shop to every single detail. Moving on, will help you to define your yes, please, man. I guess, hold on, let me give.
I was just wondering, could you make a couple of examples of protection mechanisms, real examples?
Sorry?
Could you make a couple of examples of those protection mechanisms?
Okay. Let me go back to this slide. First of all, I give you an example which is straightforward when we talk about the operational. Operational, madam, could be the site selection. For example, I'm your franchisee and I buy one location in Turkey, in Istanbul. Now, do I have the right to go and choose the location myself? Can I choose any location without you approving it? Surely not. So therefore, one of the examples is to have a proper site selection criteria that you will say, if you want to buy my business, let's say in a mall, you need to have the size of minimum 50 square meter. You need to have certain electrical power, for example. You need to be on the corner. You give them the criteria so you can make sure whenever they open or whenever they choose a location, it has to fit to your criteria. Other examples in terms of strategy could be, I have a POS system, right? Point of sale. You want to make sure that this point of sale is connected to your head office, to your back office server. So any franchisee will use the POS system that you will decide on and not any system he believes he can buy, because you want to monitor their business, you want to supervise their business. And there is so many others, all the way to the signboard, to the telephone, for example. Even, you know, when you go into a business normally and when you go into franchise, a lot of things happens in terms of a telephone. I don't know whether you notice this. If people owns the businesses here will notice that anytime you have a telephone in your store, okay, this is very important to me because people get used to that number. So I don't want them to take this telephone, for example, and change my signboard and open a, you know, a competitor business. So I want to make sure I'm protecting my business, that this location belongs to me and not to the franchisee. It belongs to me. But the franchisee has the right to operate it. He bought the franchise right and to operate it. But I want to have the upper control on it because I own the brand. And that's the whole idea behind it. I managed to answer your questions? Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. We go into something, we call it the territory and the mapping. We look at, for example, if we want to sell our franchise, let's say in United States, where I'm going to sell it? Which state I'm going to go to? Am I going to go to New York first, or I'm going to go to Chicago? And if I want to go to New York and Chicago, how many outlets I'm going to sell in New York? How many outlets I can open in Chicago? So we study something called the mapping and the strategic mapping, that we can build it with you to plan how many number of units you're planning to open or outlets you're planning to open over a period of 5 years. Then we move into the supply. What we talk about the supply, let's say tomorrow I'm a retailer and I have certain products. I want to make sure that the franchisee will buy the products only from me and not from anyone. So for example, I'm selling him certain number of or bags or shoes or whatever. He has to buy the shoes either from my factory or from my designated supplier if I don't own these products as a proprietary products. So again, we need to go into every single detail of the business to make sure that every time you sell your franchise to a franchisee, you should have always the consistency in terms of your operation, the consistency in terms of your product. So it has to be consistent, and therefore we build the supply with you. So we go into the detail, for example, even if, let's say in F&B business, we go into the detail of the product. Who's the supplier of this product? Let's decide. Let's put a list of product, put a designated supplier. Every market we go to, we need to outsource our supplier, and then we put them as designated suppliers to all our franchisee network. So the franchisee will only buy from one approved supplier. And the reason is not only to control the business, no. The reason is we want to help them to have a buying power. the more we buy, the better our prices is. So we go into the supply and we make sure that we have a proper supply chain every place or every state we go to. Moving on. If I'm being fast, please stop me. I know I talk too fast, so bear with me, please. All right, moving on. We study the pricing structure. For example, I'm a franchisee in Istanbul, right? I can't have a shop in Istanbul that sell a product for, let's say, 10 lira, and in Izmir it sells for 8 lira. No, it cannot be. I mean, when I have a franchise, they should have a certain pricing structure wherever they are in one city. So the prices should not fluctuate. It has to be stable. Every location should have the same pricing structure. Every location should have the same promotion. For example, I don't do advertising here something, and in Izmir I do another promotion. So it has to be the same across the board, all over Turkey. Moving on, we study something which is very important, what we call it the fee structure. Part of the fee structure is we look at your franchise advertising fee, we look at your franchise fee, we look at your royalty fee, we look at every single fee you're going to charge the franchisee whenever you sell him a franchise. And we need to make sure, the reason why we do the franchise fee analysis, because we want to make sure that they are buying the business based on transparency. So for example, if a franchisee comes and asks me why you're selling me that particular business for a franchise of $20,000, I need to explain why it's $20,000. So it has to be transparent. Now, the way we build your fee structure is we look at the franchise fee based on a floor value, meaning we look at the franchise fee without making profit on the franchisees. So we make it in a way that it is based on a cost basis and not based on a profit margin basis. The way we do it is we study, as I said before, every single angle of your franchise structure, meaning we study your global cost and we study your direct cost. What do we mean by global cost? Global cost, it means any expenses or any budget I will spend today or even during the period of 5 years to build my franchise program. Whether it is having my own proprietary product or whether it is having my own software that I need to establish internally to support all my franchisees, or whether it is registering my brand, for example, because when you go into franchise, you need to register your trademark, and this will cost you money. So the whole idea behind the global cost is that we study your business, we study any expenses you will have today or during the course of 5 years, and we include it part of your global cost. And the reason why we do this, because we want to make sure that every single franchisee is contributing partially for that cost. So in the end of the day, we plan how much is going to cost us to build our franchise, and we include it part of the global cost. Am I being fast or it's fine? Please.
I want to ask a question related to fixed prices. I don't understand. For example, in city A, the living cost is lower than the other cities. So, for example, Istanbul is a very expensive city.
Yes, yes.
So, if you at an area which is placed at a very high cost, people and conditions, so you can't use the same prices in another city. Does it make sense?
Look, if you're talking city by city, it might, yes, depending on where you are. I agree. But again, I need to ask you a question. Simple question. I am the producer of my product, right? Yeah. And I know my costing, whether I did it in my factory in Istanbul or in any other cities within Turkey. The cost is the same thing. It should be the same thing. The only variable is the cost of your outlet. For example, the rent of the outlet might be different in one place to the other, right? But again, you have to take into consideration, if I am today in a mall, in a very important mall, so basically I'm going to have more footfall. I'm going to have more people coming to my shop. So the extra revenue will support my cost. So you have to look at it from both sides. But again, the reason why we're saying, because when you go into franchise, I give you an example, McDonald's, for example, just for the sake of the example. You can't go and eat McDonald's in one city you pay price here different than there. It's all the same.
I think we have it.
It depends. It depends on the cities then.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think it changes even from area to area. So
Like,
for example, in Bebek, it's a region of some very good place, and
Yeah.
it's very high. It's higher than the price is higher than the other McDonald's.
only in Bebek or
Yeah,
in
maybe
any other
in some
cities.
other McDonald's,
Is it?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I need someone to tell me.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
your
is.
cities is different. But for example, when you go to, I give you an example. You are in Dubai, or you are in UAE, or you are in Lebanon, or you are in Jordan, or you are in our Middle Eastern regions. You don't see that difference. If you are in Saudi Arabia, you don't see that difference. I agree with you. Maybe it is a touristic place. Therefore, the people increase the prices because it's only a short period of time they are operational. Could be. This is another story. I mean, if I have a resort and I operate only 6 months a year, surely my prices might be the same. It will be different because I want to make money as much as I can during that period. So again, but we're talking about here in terms of pricing, it's purely to have a consistency. You know what I'm saying? It's you should have you can't be, for example, in Istanbul, because you are in a big mall and you're paying that much rent, and you are in another shop with a lower rent. My prices here is different than here. It cannot work. It has to be the same, because this will affect your franchise business.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I come here and I eat this, for example, for 5 lira, and then I go there, I eat it for 7, automatically as a client, I will be a bit, disappointed.
Yeah, kind of.
You know what I'm saying? Unless
Yeah,
you
okay.
are in a touristic area, this is another story.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Going into the initial franchise fee analysis. So basically, we look at two costs. One of them is a global, and the other one is a direct cost. The difference between the global and the direct is that, as I mentioned, the global, anything we're planning to spend today or during the course of 5 years, we have to budget it and include it part of our franchise fee and make sure that every single franchisee is contributing to my cost, right? Now moving into the direct is the direct cost. For example, you bought my franchise in Turkey in that particular location, right? In order for you to open this location, I need to give you training. I need to sit down with you. I need to send my team to support you in your opening, to make sure that you are 100%, you have all the operations in place. I need maybe to provide you some POS system training, maybe to get to know how I do my accounting, how I do my operation. So this costs me money. Every time I sell a franchise, I need to calculate this cost. And the reason you have it into two different kind of costs, because one of them, as I mentioned, more to global, the other one is more to direct, for that particular location only. So what we do here is we study your cost. We look at your global and we divide it by the number of franchise you're planning to sell over a period of 5 years. And then we look at the direct, and then we calculate them together and we come up with the floor value. Let's say your floor value is $20,000. We tell you, well, your franchise fee is $20,000. You are not allowed to sell less than this price. The reason is you will be losing money, and we don't want you to lose money. So that's one of the things we do normally, is to study your initial franchise fee. It's okay? All right. Moving on, we study the second cost that you have to have, which is part of it, is the pure, what we call it, the pure revenue stream, let's put it this way, which is the royalty. Every time you sell a franchise, you collect a royalty from your franchisee. What we call it, a percentage of their gross sales. Now, who decide on this percentage? And who says, well, it is 5% or 6% or 7%? Who decide? The normal practice is what people normally tends to do, which is totally wrong, by the way, is that they look at their competitor. They say, well, my competitor is charging 5%. You know what? I'm going to charge 4% because I want to compete with them. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why? For so many reasons. The reasons are, when you study your royalty, the royalty is based on so many factors. One of them is the investment you put for that store versus the return on the investment. Let's say me and you, we have the same business, exactly the same. You and I, we have the same investment, right? You and I, we have the same profit. But you and I, okay, we have a different support to our franchisees. Let's say you do your support once a year, I do it 4 times a year. Will I charge the same thing like you? If I do, I will be losing money, because my support is 4 times more than your support. So the way we study the royalty, one of them is what you're going to provide as support and services to your franchisee, and how frequently you will be doing that support and supervision. This will vary, and this will define your royalty fee. Another example could be, like we said, I'm using you as an example, sorry, yeah? We have the same investment, we have the same return on investment, right? But your return on investment, let's say when you do it, is 20%. My return on investment with extra product I'm selling is 30%. Your franchise fee is 5%. Then I have the right to decide if my franchise fee is 5 or 6, because I'm making more money than you, right? I can higher my royalty. Why it has to be the same? As long as the franchisee is making profit the same way we want them to make, or they should make, then we're fine. We can adjust our royalty here. So again, it varies from business to a business. So it doesn't mean that any single or similar businesses, they might have the same royalty. Moving on, I know we are limited in time. This is why I'm trying to be fast. They told us we have 1 hour, so we still have what, 20 minutes? So I'm gonna try to be as fast as I can. Moving on, we study your advertising fee. You study your marketing fund, because every time you sell a franchise, there is so many things you collect from your franchisee. One of them is the initial franchise fee. So let's say tomorrow you want to sell me your franchise, I need to pay you an upfront fee. Let's say $20,000. I bought the franchise. The second is how much royalty I should pay you as percentage for you to give me the support. Because I'm buying your business, I'm buying your know-how. You are the expert, you need to give me the same know-how. You need to supervise me always, you need to support me always. So how much is the royalty? And there is so many other fees, like advertising fee. How much you should, pay percentage as advertising to advertise your business in the area where you operate. Let's say you are responsible for Marmaris, okay? So you have to advertise in Marmaris. So we should give you some guidelines on how much you should invest. What's the percentage of your gross sales you need to invest in order for you to promote your business and in order for you to make profit in your business. So the idea behind it is a win-win situation, like I said. It's not about only making money from the franchisee, no, but as well it is about the support and the supervision and the assistance you're going to give to your franchisees. I know, guys, I've been very fast. But again, as I mentioned, we only have 20 minutes. So briefly, the last slide talks about part of the strategic planning that we do is your legal structure, your franchise agreement. Who decide that our agreement is 5 years? Who decide our agreement is 10 years? Who decide our agreement is 20 years? Nobody can decide this. With all due respect, if there is lawyers here, even lawyers cannot decide on this. Because the way you decide on your franchise agreement is based on your business model. We might have, again, the same business model, right? His business ROI, return on investment, is, let's say, 50%. So he will retrieve his investment in 2 years, where my business is in 4 years. He can sign an agreement for 5 years with the franchisee. Why? Because he's making profit in the first 2 years. He retrieved all his investment, so he doesn't have a problem. Whereby I have a business that require minimum 4 years to retrieve back my investment. Therefore, what will happen? Will I sign for 5 years? Surely not. The franchisee won't accept it, because the franchisee would like to make money as well. He wants to sign with you on an agreement that will provide him a certain revenue return back, and consistency in order for him to start making profit. So we look at it from different angles. Again, strategic planning for us is the most important part of your business. As I mentioned, it is the fundamental part of your business. No one can think, for example, I have a great business, I'm going to be a best franchise business in the world. It doesn't work like this. It doesn't. You have to plan it. You have to put your strategies in place. You have to look at the other competitions in the world, how much they are charging. You need to be dedicated, committed towards your franchisee, what you're going to support them, what you're going to supervise them with, how you're going to assist them, what are the know-how transfer that you need to do. So all these questions that every single franchisor will go through is we help you to solve it, part of your strategic planning. Any questions? No? Fine. Moving on. We have to talk a bit because, again, as I mentioned, we are short in time. Once we define your strategic planning and structure report, the second thing we look at is your legal documents. So I'm going to let Shireen to talk a bit about the legal documents. I know I bored you guys, but you know, short in time, so bear with us. Thank you very much. Shireen, please.
Okay. The second major deliverable in a franchise program development is the franchise legal documentation. For sure, they have to be based on strategic decisions. And as Imad was elaborating, the strategic part of a program is the most essential part. And all other deliverables of a franchise program should be based on strategic decisions and financials. What we deliver at Francorp, the legal documents are international documents. They can be used anywhere in the world. They prevent litigation, they eliminate conflicts, and they are a franchise sales tool in themselves. We deliver individual agreements, area agreements, master franchise agreements, and others. Of course, legal documentation with no strategic basis will surely mean lack of protection for the franchisor, high risk of franchisee desertion, high risk of system piracy, and risk of even the franchisor breaching his own franchise agreement. I would like to go quick tips. First of all, never to franchise a business from the company that owns the trademark. Whenever you decide to franchise your business, you have to create a complete different entity. And you self-franchise from that entity because we want to keep the mother company owning the trademark as safe as possible. So the new entity will sell the franchise and there will be a license agreement between the two companies authorizing the new entity to sell the franchise. Second tip is never to franchise to someone more powerful than yourself. It doesn't mean financially, it might be politically. Never partner with your franchisees because we don't want you to split your brand equity. You're going into a franchise because you want to keep your brand equity for yourself. We don't believe in partnership, we don't believe in joint venture. So never partner with your franchisees, just sell it simply as a franchise. Never franchise to a landlord. Never allow your master franchisee to serve and to decide how to sell the franchises and serve the system, and many more other tips. This is briefly the franchise legal documents, which is a very essential part of the program. It's the agreement between you and the franchisee, and it's 100% bulletproof for the franchisor, and it's also not a scary document for the franchisee. Please.
You say that you provide documents that are useful worldwide. Do you refer to some specific law, to some specific court, or what?
The law and the arbitration, it will be specifically where the concept is created, where's the prototype.
Okay, you don't suggest to set up a BV or something which would be the...
Depending where's your concept are, the arbitration will be there. Usually you can create an offshore, which is protective more for the franchisor. Okay. Now we can move to the third major deliverable of the program, which is the franchise operation manual. We consider it as an audit guide, as a textbook for training, and of course as a franchise sales tool. We say whoever can read can operate your business. A full franchise development program will make your life easy as a franchisor. This is a brief outline of an operation manual, just a partial few topics: site selection, remodeling, pre-opening, administration, marketing, HR, maintenance, security, recipes, merchandising, training, and others. Of course, the absence of strategic decisions to support the creation of the operation manual would surely result in the following: impossibility to audit, lack of consistency, excessive training time, and of course lack of control over initial investment, and even risk of breaching your own agreement. I will leave the franchise marketing plan to Ziad, please.
Don't go just yet. This is the most exciting part of the franchising program. So, okay, marketing, franchise marketing is different than marketing to your consumers. And this is what we would like to talk about now, because this is something that not many people know about. Many of us know how to, market our products and services to the direct customers and consumers. But this is different. This is really marketing your franchise to prospective franchisees who would be then interested to come and knock on your door and say, listen, we want to buy your franchise. The main goal of franchising marketing is really to generate ready, willing, and able candidates and to convert them into a franchisee for your business. That's really the heart of what we're trying to achieve here. And we believe in something that we call the franchisee decision journey. See, an investment is a journey. It's not something that people decide on over just over an hour. So if they want to put a major amount of what they saved or their capital, or they take a loan and they want to invest in your business, they go through a lot and they will start comparing your franchise to other franchises out there. So what we want to do in franchise marketing is really try to make sure that throughout that journey you're always in their mind, and once they start doing their homework and doing the evaluation and doing and not comparing whether this is a good brand, whether the return on investment is good, you always want to top up your competition when it comes to that. So this is what we would focus on in franchising marketing. Besides the aspect of franchising marketing, and I think I jumped onto a lot of things, but in today's world, digital marketing is becoming very, very important, even in B2B, even in B2C. So when we do franchise marketing plan, a big chunk of that marketing plan is going to be on related to digital. I mean, Google search or the like of Google. So any search is such an important aspect of people's life. They want to buy a house, they go and search. They want to buy a car, they do the same thing. They want to buy a franchise, and they also do the same. So this is such an important thing. Besides that, there is a lot of marketing activities that will be, of course, captured in a franchise marketing plan. Besides that, there's also the frequently asked question. What we want to allow franchisors is to enable the franchisees themselves to filter themselves out. So you give them frequently asked questions and you tell them, this is what you need to qualify as a franchisee for my business. You will need to pay me this kind of franchise fee, this kind of royalties, you need this much capital to invest to start the business, and so on and so forth. So when they read that document of frequently asked questions, they will be able to know whether they qualify or not. If they qualify, they will take the step further, and then you go and you meet with them, and if they don't qualify, most of the time they will just say, okay, well, I don't qualify, and then so it's a great filtering system and a very, very essential part of the franchise marketing plan. I guess we're very much aware that we're running short on time, so we'd like to close it here and open up for questions for around 10 to 15 minutes. And what I really encourage you, especially those who either have businesses that they like to franchise or those who just want to know more about this topic, to come and talk to us, to talk to Imad, Shireen, myself after the Q&A session that we will have now. And if you don't have time now, you can find us on our booth. It's Francorp. It's literally just at the end of, if you just walk straight, we'll be there. You can come to us later today, tomorrow, or in the coming days throughout this exhibition. So let's open up for questions. For those who have questions, we'll be very happy to answer them. No questions?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for the seminar.
Thank you for listening.
What is the right time to start franchising your system? So is there a readiness?
It's a great question, and
Readiness checklist.
I know he also knows the answer to this question. See, we believe that we've seen out of just experience and having, you know, if you witness over the last years, some people have franchised only when they had one prototype. Some have franchised when they had 10 prototypes. There's not necessarily a formula to that. See, the thing is that if you have a great concept, and if you have, it's a profitable business, and if you have a solid franchise program, then you can start franchise. Now it's really up to you. Then you say, you know what, I want to own a city. I don't know, let's say you're coming from Italy and you say, I want to own the city of Milan with my own stores. But the rest of the world, including the other cities in Italy, I want to franchise. It's up to you. Or you might say, I just want to have 1 or 2 prototypes, and from there I can start franchising. But you obviously need a couple, 1 or 2 prototypes to start franchising, because you need a proof of concept that this is a business, this is a real thing, this is not just fiction or, you know, some writing on a piece of paper.
Thank you very much. While giving consultancy services, do you provide or suggest any information technology tools to the companies? What kind of tools or technologies you provide or suggest? Or do you have any ready tools that you already provide to your companies, to your customers during this consultancy?
Shall I take it, Shini? We don't sell POS, so we don't sell softwares. We can of course always suggest, and there's plenty of softwares out there in the market. So that's really, as soon as you do a little bit of research, you realize that there's a few that are, you know, at the top. Then it's a question of whether you can afford them or not, and then you can go to, you know, level 2 in terms of quality and pricing. But we can suggest things, of course.
Being Francorp, are you providing any kind of service to any Turkish companies currently?
Yes. So we are also in the process of setting up our office in Turkey, in Istanbul. Mm-hmm. And yes, we can, and we will, and we can do it as of today.
If we want to get a consultancy, we should get in touch with you, I guess, like from your
Yeah,
book.
so that's what I said. I said I really encourage you, after this Q&A, please come and talk to us, and let's see how we can help you.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sure you've seen and set up a lot of successful franchisings over your years of consultancy, but sometimes you learn more from failures. So I'm sure you've seen some concepts failing as well. What are the main reasons that lead to franchising failures? The biggest mistakes you've seen made by people?
Do you want to go? Sure. And I'll build on it. Sure.
As Imad was elaborating before, the most important thing in franchising that you have to be committed, and you have to provide the support and the audit. Otherwise, it's going to be a failure. And also from the franchisor side, if it's done the program through a franchising consultancy firm or internally, but based on international franchising standards with the financials justified, then you make sure that you're going to be successful and your franchisee is going to be successful. You always have to be transparent, financials should be justified. It's a win-win situation at the end.
Sorry. No, I just want to build on that, and I think you're probably, so yes, you learn probably more from failure than from success. We fully agree with that, and we've seen a lot in our experience. We've seen and we've worked with, and we fight a kind of, you know, like really challenge some of our clients who, for example, tend to start selling too many franchises but don't have the organizational infrastructure to support those franchisees. And then you'll fall into a lot of operational problems. We know a few clients I cannot name, of course. This is just one example of, if you don't support, if you don't audit enough, that's another, you're creating the room for failure. And I can really, if the legal documents are not bulletproof, you can run into problems. If you don't structure the organization properly, if you keep your trademark vulnerable, meaning if you operate your business from the same company that owns the trademark, if someone sues you, they are having a claim on your trademark, which is the most important asset you have. And the list goes on and on. We can talk about this, by the way, if you're interested, but just in the sake of time. Any more questions? Okay, so I think we'll close here. We're open for discussions. Please come and talk to us. Thank you. Tashakkur. Is that right? Yeah, tashakkur. Okay. And talk to you soon. Thanks.